opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Ricky Rutherford. Ann and I moved to East Tennessee from West Tennessee in 2012. We moved here to become modern homesteaders. After an exhausting 3-year search for property, we purchased the old Tilden Ball place on Old 15, halfway between Hartford and Del Rio. This wasn't what I wanted, but it was where God wanted me. We didn't know we had bought a piece of history and had no idea we were destined to keep that history alive. The community watched us and accepted us and brought us into the most powerful, the most wonderful, caring, giving group of characters we have ever met in our entire life. We became family. In 2017, we reopened the little convenience store just for the community that had accepted us as one of their own. This community still brings us antiques and family heirlooms to be displayed at our little country store and restaurant. There's a banjo that one gentleman's grandfather purchased from the Sears and Roebuck catalog in the late 1800s. One family brought down their grandmother's cowbell and tobacco axe. There are many others, and we gladly tell customers about these things and give them history lessons, not only of our place, but also the great people of our community and their ancestors. We are blessed to live on a little gravel road where people throw up their hands in a friendly way or stop when passing each other to ask how they are doing or their family. Annie's Pork and Bean store doesn't resemble the pork and beans of the 1960s and 70s or even the original store built in 1896. But the heart and soul are definitely the same. We still give the kids little bags of candy just like Mr. Tilden Ball did. It is still a place where friends and families come to visit with each other. To us, most of our customers are not customers at all. They are family. We describe our place as going to Grandma's house on a Sunday afternoon. We never had big plans to make this happen. It just did. Our store is ever-changing and is constantly being added to as time and money allows. The community sees this and they feel that they are a part of it, seeing the progression of things. Not only is the little store part of history, our house is too. And I'll skip over that. I tell you these things not to bore you or give you a history lesson or even boast about what Ann and myself have done. It's right the opposite. This to tell you how humbled and honored we are to be able to give back to a community that has given so much to us. A community that has been taken advantage of, neglected, and even being called stupid hillbillies, which they are most definitely not. The paper mill in Canton, North Carolina dumped toxins and poisons into the Pigeon River for decades, killing fish and people who depended on that river. The pigeon was nicknamed the Dirty Bird. Hartford was being called Widowville because of the deaths that came from that river. The Gulf was taken away from these people and renamed Martha Sunbush State Park, whom, to my knowledge, wasn't even from here or ever even visited it. And now, the hot bike trails have been forced upon these people as well. No discussion, no vote on whether they wanted it or not. We were told it was a done deal and we had no say in it all. I was at the meeting, if you want to call it that. This past winter, I walked outside with my coffee in the morning. I could hear Jake brakes for the first time in 8 years coming from the interstate. It saddened me and angered me at the same time. I could hear it because of the work that's being done for these bike trails, I believe. And now, Hartford and Grassy Fork are facing even more difficult times, more than likely the decimation of not just a community, but a way of life. A group of investors called Velocity, and there are others as well, are planning on turning Hartford into an Aspen of the East. Indoor skiing, kayaking, Olympic training, etc. If this is allowed to happen, Hartford and Grassy Fork will be no more. A few jobs locals will get will be dishwashers and toilet scrubbers. as a local high-powered attorney has said. Those that don't sell to Velocity will watch their property taxes get so high that they cannot pay them and be forced to sell, giving Velocity even more opportunity to keep expanding. You may say, that's over there. It won't affect me. When's the last time you tried to drive a Pigeon Forge to Gatlinburg on a Friday afternoon? You don't, because you know that, right? Cocke County will become the next Sevier County if you don't think so, it will. Just go down, even now, go down Cocke Highway on Friday afternoon here in town. Traffic is horrible. It will be even worse if this happens. Just last month at this meeting, Mr. Mathis asked for additional funding to buy 40 more acres to expand the 6-acre landfill. 40 acres. We're using 6 acres now. What do we need the 40 acres for? I believe something is up big time. Today I'm calling on this body to take action. You are elected to protect and promote the welfare of the citizens of Cocke County. You are the legislative body of this county. I'm asking you to do what you were elected to do. Please don't sit idly by and let a few people sell your heritage, history, and culture for a mere 30 pieces of silver. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ricky.
Is there anyone else want to speak tonight? If not, we'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock.
County Legislative Body session. Chairman Order Smith presiding, Mayor Rob Mackey present.
Mr. Pastor, please.
I will. Let's pray, please. Heavenly Father, Almighty God in heaven, thank you for this beautiful day. I pray that you'll be with each one of us through this meeting. Give us wisdom, Father. Thank you for your beautiful Son, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Please be with us, watch over us, and guide us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks to everybody that's come out tonight, and bear with us. New system going on tonight, but first thing on the agenda tonight will be roll call, so if you don't mind, at this time, Mark President on the pad. All present. All right, next thing on the agenda is approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? So we have, Gavin Blazer with the motion. We have a second. By Mr. Vassar. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. I'm sorry. I'll be used to it. I'll be used to it. All right, everybody vote. Okay, vote. That motion passed. Number 3, the election of appointments and reports. Motion made by, we have a motion to approve. Motion made by Wilma Ball, seconded by Jeff Esslinger. Do we have any discussion? If not, vote at this time. Everyone's done, we can tally the vote. Mr. Bassett. That motion passed. And we move on to the next one. Alright, so we'll go on to the meeting, right? All right. In a matter of accepting the following orders and reports, Circuit Court and Cocke County Board of Education, the copy was enclosed. We have a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Vassar, seconded by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote at this time. That motion passed. C, in a matter of any committee reports, budget items will be sent out later.
They were sent several times.
So, is there any discussion on the budget amendments? Any questions? First of all, we have a motion to approve. Mr. Vassar is seconded by Gaylor White. We're going to go one more time, we're going to do one at a time. It was the county, school budget. So everybody knows it was the county budget, the school budget, and the, right, food budget.
Yeah, this is just, this right here is just the county.
Okay, this will just be for the county budget, so we have a motion for, and a second for just the county budget. Again, any discussion? If not, we'll vote at this time. That motion passed. Second will be the school. Cocke County Board of Education budget amendments. We have a motion to approve. Limba Ball and Bill Miller. Any discussion? Any questions? If not, the vote this time. That motion carried. Now, for the food service fund amendment, we have a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Vassar. Any questions? If not, we'll vote this time. That motion carried. Anything else in budget that we know of, Mr. Mayor?
No, that can
All right. Sanitation, anything? General committee? Anything?
I would like to call a general committee meeting. We've not, I haven't seen the report, but I would like to call for a meeting this week.
Okay, concerning? Okay, just
Yeah,
general topics.
yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. That's okay. While they're working on that though, we will have county clerk set up a general committee meeting. Yes. Chairman is, who's chairman of the general committee? That's
never had a meeting.
that's you. We had to have a meeting since. All right, so Mr. Murdoch is chairman. Yeah. All right, she said she's gonna work it out for you. You know he's ready. All right, anything from public safety?
We did have,
No.
we did
Sure.
have, we did have a meeting, we didn't have a forum, that I talked to, Priority Ambulance in Shenova, and that's our letter that was added today. It just sort of tells the commissioners the process that they use, so it might help us when we're talking to the public and that, to know what's going on.
Okay,
Okay,
is that all you have?
that's all I have.
All right, anything from purchasing? No. All right, that's fine. All right, next thing on the agenda is the report from the county mayor.
I only have one item, and that is, we have a guest, Ms. Tammy Delk was here. This is an item that was not on the agenda. However, it came up late last week, and it's something we need to address, or else the county's going to lose some private grant funding. But Ms. Delk, would you please come up and describe the situation? And if she has some letters, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you all on her behalf while she speaks for it. You just take one of these, she'll explain the situation.
My name is Shannon Delk, and I am with Tennessee Community Assistance Corporation in Moretown, TCAC for short, so if you see that reference, that's what I'm talking about. We are the administrators for your home rehab grant through THDA. So in 2020, you guys got a $500,000 grant, and that is for the rehab or reconstruction of low and moderate income families, homeowners. When the policy and procedures were put in place for that 2020 grant, the mayor and commission at the time put an extra line, I guess you would say, in your policy and procedure that's not typically a THDA thing, but it was to limit the amount of reconstructions that were done on the grant. With the THDA grant, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the home grant, but THDA allows us to put in up to 75% of the home after rehab value. So, say a house is worth $100,000, we can invest up to $75,000, which is very different from a lot of the grants that you will see. That's one reason why counties like the home rehab grant, because we can do a lot of good in a small amount of time. With a particular house that we're working on right now, and what we're finding is that most of the homes who have applied exceed that amount of money. And so in 2018, TCAC actually had a grant. For instance, we reconstructed 3 homes and rehabbed 4. So you can see limiting that to one reconstruction really is going to hurt people more than help people. So we are down while we added it to last minute, we are down to the last bit of money and the last bit of time, and the project that we have on the board originally estimated about $45,000. We were hoping it was going to be a small project to fit a budget issue, but in turn, we have found that house is in really bad condition, to the point where the homeowner is having to stay with friends and family because of the condition of the house. The chimney has fallen in, there's plumbing and electrical issues that are causing major damage, it's causing mold, so it's just an unsafe place for this gentleman to be living at the moment. So what we are basically, when I say we, TCAC and the inspector who has went out and given an estimate, what we are asking is that you reconsider adding that one construction only language to your policy and procedure. That would mean that we need to vote on that quickly, because those funds have to be committed by the end of June. It has to go through a bidding process, things like that, so that normally takes a couple of weeks, and then getting it under contract. So if you decide to go forward and say we can do a reconstruction, we would need to get that done really, really quickly. If you want to keep the one reconstruction on the books, then there is a possibility that you will lose about $134,000 because I don't know that we can find the right project to fit under that 75% threshold, looking at the ones that we've done so far. You have other people on the list. We're down, we're around number 12, 13 on the list. So we have done one reconstruction already. And here's the reason why that's a problem. We've already done one reconstruction on the grant. We have done, the other two remodels that we've done were major problems. One of them was like $80-something thousand, and one was close to 100, it's in the high 90s. So because of cost and everything that is going on today, rehabs just are not cheap. So to find a house that fits that 75% criteria is becoming more difficult. So our recommendation is reconsidering that addition that the county put on and allowing this reconstruction, because if we don't do it, we have to walk away from this house.
So if I could summarize,
Yeah.
make sure I understand. Currently, our conditions for this grant are restrictions, so you can do one rebuild per grant cycle.
Yes.
And you're asking that be removed because changing economic conditions have made it such that we will actually not be able to be as efficient with that money with that verbiage in place. And then if we don't change it, we're going to lose $130,000.
It's a possibility because they're finding that sweet spot for another house is just not there.
So you're just asking me to remove that verbiage from the rules?
And that is verbiage that the county put in place. That is not THDA's rule. THDA states that if it's over 75%, it has to be reconstructed. So that's kind of where we are, is we're limited to help this person because of the verbiage that the county put in place. And the purpose was in hopes that that money would go further, being able to do rehabs versus reconstructions. But just the reality of it, with the cost and stuff the way they are, and in the condition of the houses of the applicants, that's just not happening. So.
Anybody have any questions?
This doesn't come from us, this money.
No, this money is for
This money is not
THCA, it's really just a pass-through grant. Where it will hurt you in the long run is when you go to reapply in the future, you're gonna get deducted points if you turn this money back. It's an amazing grant.
Why did you all put that in place to start with? Do you remember?
Seemed like the thought was at the time when it done it, that it would help more people, they could spread the money out.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's to the contrary, we're gonna lose money and not get who we need to.
So you just make a motion for that.
Well, hold on just a second.
As far as, I'm just asking if that's what she's asking.
Right, but that's what you're asking for tonight, for a motion to amend that, right? So my question to the county attorney, we need to suspend the rules to vote on that, right? Okay. So, at this time, you guys want to put that on here, or you want us to do it, boys? Right, have we got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this time, oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
The 6th district, we'd like to know, this is directed to Mr. Mayor. What do you recommend, Mr. Mayor?
Based on the meeting I had with Ms. Delp, I looked at the house in question, and we had a discussion with the economic conditions, and I do recommend that we, at least for now, go ahead and put that in place. If things return to the conditions as they were in place, not revisiting that, but right now, I think this is I recommend this.
Thank you, sir.
Is this something we can change back? Or is this?
This will be the last house on this project. It should take up the last 134 that's left. And then when time comes to reapply for the grant, you can put that back. Each grant cycle, you would redo this policy.
Is this made available for the public, I'm assuming, to apply for this grant?
Yes, when sorry, you really didn't know that.
Well,
knowing that you weren't in place, when the grant is received by the county, it is policy to hold a public meeting. So we've done that back when the grant was received and received all the applicants. And there is a stringent process that we go through to approve all of those with a ranking system, and so that the beauty of having the outside person do it is I don't know anybody. So the numbers speak for themselves as who gets help. So we just worked on the list. If you read in the letter that I gave to you guys, We have had some complications in this grant, that some of the homeowners that were on the list have passed away, some are unresponsive, some aren't doing the things that they have to get in place. So we've worked our way down, and we're not, towards the bottom, you normally have houses that would fit in the 75% range, but we're just not finding that. So the inspector and myself are kind of at a loss here. We got to change that.
Any other questions? Make a motion to suspend the rules. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Baxter. We have a second by Jonathan Tillman. Any other discussion before we vote? The motion is to suspend the rules. At this time, vote please. That motion passed. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to remove the language that's been asked to remove from the grant. I'll entertain a motion at this time. Okay. To remove the verbiage that the county added to the grant. Of only one reconstruction. So tell me when you're ready, we'll do that. All right. So that motion, we have the motion on the floor to remove the verbiage. Motion was made by Mr. Baxter. Is that seconded by Mr. Esslinger? Any more discussion? If not, we'll vote at this time.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, that motion carried. Anything else? Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Look forward to seeing you guys in a few months doing more grants.
All right. Go ahead.
I just have one, really nothing to vote, just a piece of information. Last week, we did receive confirmation from TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, and we were approved for a $6.5 million grant to, which should be the final piece in the funding we need to run the sewer line to Cocke School and relieve their situation with their catastrophic county septic system. So that project is a go, it's fully funded, and none of that's going to come from the taxpayers of Cocke County. It's all state and federal funds. Thank you.
In a matter of report from the county attorney,
I have two things tonight. I'm sorry, Lydia, I'm really tired.
No, it's okay, I've got to go back and change the voting criteria for those areas.
Okay. So the first one is effective the beginning of this month. The state decided to include Juneteenth or June 15th as a state holiday. So with that, would you guys like to add Juneteenth as a county holiday? It would just give the employees another day. So I'd be asking for a motion.
explain to the board what you do.
I believe it was the last day that a black slave was released from enslavement, I believe.
How many days a year does the county currently give?
Let's look at the policy. 15, so it'd be 16 day off.
Would this be a paid holiday?
Yes. It would just go into the additional county holidays like Christmas and Easter.
Is it in our budget that we can handle this?
That's a question for the
Mr. Mayor? Yes, sir. This paid holiday, is it in our budget that we can allow our employees to have the day off?
Again, this would, I don't think this would have, it wouldn't have much impact on the budget at all.
We're already paying the people that day, so it shouldn't do much. They just want to be at work.
Yeah, we wouldn't add any to the budget.
Any other questions? So, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to get it done. We'll have to suspend the rules again. So, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules, to vote on it. So a motion by Mr. Esslinger and seconded by Mr. Miller. Any questions? At this time, we'll vote to suspend the rules. That motion passed 13-1, so since the rules are suspended, I will entertain a motion to add Juneteenth to the county holiday for the county employees. And I guess you'll take a minute to type it up, right? You know it's the city, I got a question, is the city?
Yeah. I don't know who did it for a while.
Yeah.
Just tell me whenever you're ready.
I think Newport did it last year.
Melissa? So I understand, so the county employees, they work on Juneteenth, they get regular straight pay plus holiday pay for Juneteenth on top of that, right?
If they work,
If they work, yes.
we haven't made it a county holiday, so at this point they wouldn't. We haven't adopted that. If we did and then they worked, I would have to check with Heather, but they should be entitled to holiday pay.
That was fair to my
That's a
question.
fair point.
For- yeah, for- I didn't think about that, yeah.
That's a better answer than what I had.
So, the motion to add Juneteenth to the county holiday calendar. Again, we have Mr. Esslinger with a motion and seconded by Mr. Miller. Is there any other discussion or questions? If not, we'll vote at this time. That motion passed by 12-2.
One other thing, yeah, we have a land sale inquiry, so Pastor John Workman would like to purchase a piece of property, it's off 411, it's about 9 acres, I don't have more information on the piece of property yet, but I'd just like to get permission to kind of look into it, see how much you could get for it, and that kind of thing.
Where's this located?
It's off 411, I can give you the parcel number, but I don't have any additional information.
On the corner of 411.
I don't have.
It's on the other side of
And who was asking the purchase?
It's a Pastor John Workman, it's something the church interested in purchasing, I do not have any available in the packet.
I think they put the church there. That's my understanding.
That's what it sounded like, but I have not. Before I do anything, I want to get permission back.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to give her permission to just look into it and study it, see if it's good for the county, then you report back at the next meeting, I guess. Just let me know when you're ready. Investigate the sale of 9 acres of property, county property. Yeah, that's a report to the county. We're not doing any business. I wouldn't think so. This is, all right. You get it? All right, at this time, I entertain a motion for that. Ms. Blazer, do we have a second? Mr. Veridoff, any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote at this time, please. That motion can pass. 1-0. Is it?
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Number 8, the matter report from county commissioners at the end. Ms. Baldwin?
Yes. I've been dealing with this since January. It's concerning the nonprofits that came before the CLB in February. As of right now, the nonprofits, some of the nonprofits are having a difficult time getting the monies that was allotted to them by us. And I'm wanting to see this finished up and off our plates. I'm being told that they'll have to reapply, then they don't reapply. You know, we voted to give them the money. I look at what they do for our communities, how many people they help. They're wanting basic things to do this job and do it more efficiently. There was the first email that went out, I was unaware till later that it had specified certain items. Those items were turned in 2021. The need had changed. I mean, we're sitting here in 2023 now. The need had changed from that point. So we need to give these nonprofits the money that was allotted. It was out of the COVID monies. So I want to make a motion that we do that. Make it easier for them to get it and do what they need to do.
So, what you're, and we'll probably have to vote to suspend the rules here in a second, but to understand what you're asking is to give the money to the nonprofits that's already been approved, go ahead and give them their money.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
okay. Yes.
What's the holdup? I mean, what's got involved in that? I mean, we voted on this months ago.
It's my understanding that one of the nonprofits changed what they're just using it for. And we only approved specifically what they can use it for. So if we wanted to allow them to change it, what we would have to do is they would have to reapply, and then that would open kind of a can of worms. So we have to let the other nonprofits reapply too, just to keep it at a level playing field. And then we would have to go through the process again. So I think there was like 5 criteria where we kind of weighed it out to see who deserved the money the most, who could use it the best for the county. So we'd have to go through that process. The only issue right now is that it has to be used by July 1st. So we have a month and a half.
Well, it goes back into it.
Yes. And then it goes back into the funds. Now, what we could do is you could allot that money in the next budget for the same thing, for nonprofits again. And then we could still go through the process again, and then you'd have more time, basically, to look at it. When we get that money that is for nonprofits, you guys could decide to keep that for nonprofits.
But we've already voted to give them this money. And I understand why, we're leaning on that. It was the specific stuff in this specific email. Look, it changed. We were handed, the the board was handed the stuff from 2021 in 2023. We didn't ask for an amendment, and that's on me, and I take that. But this is ridiculous. I mean, we've got we had $290,000 to award to these people. As of right now, we still have $140,433.
Well, I need some clarification. You said there was one change, so what about the other?
I am not aware of any others changing. It if you know.
The
then let
only
me know.
thing that was changed was for the Council of Aging. There was something about a sign on there, but now there were some amendments turned into the mayor's office. Now, where they went, I have no idea. I know of two.
I've not had, in my office, we've had some people call and ask if they can change it. I said, well, we can't release any funds that hasn't been approved by the CLB. And the CLB voted for certain amounts for certain items. So, and what we tell them is, it's up to the CLB. We're essentially, every dollar that has to be spent has to be approved by the CLB. So we can't authorize anything to be spent that's not approved. So if somebody wants it for an oven, but then wants a fridge, we can't release the money for the fridge because it's not approved. Yes, Mr. Baker.
Mr. Mayor, was this decision, this made in 2021? This paperwork that she's talking about? Not Ms. Ball, but the county attorney? She's talking about something in 2021 was?
I didn't think 2021, I'm not sure, I think that's when you said the criteria was created. I was not a part of that. The nonprofit committee meeting was in May 2022, where the criteria of how it would be determined who got it. So that was the May last year, so about a year ago.
Okay, so they turned their applications in 2021. Then in 2022, they decided who out of the applicants was going to get it. So my motion is that we take how am I trying to say it?
I think she's trying to say we need to change the amendment so that we can vote to give these people their money that we promised them.
Yes.
So what you want to do, just to clarify, what you're wanting to do is, there were certain organizations that were approved for money. So we stayed with those organizations that were approved for money and give them the money that was allotted to them.
Yes.
Period. That's what you want to do, right? Okay,
That's the one that they needed a stove and a refrigerator. Yeah, she was in here that night.
so before that, we'll need to suspend the rules to do that. You have a question? Wait, let's just let everybody throw their hands up here to get it. So first of all, Mr. Vassar spoke, right?
Yes.
So we're going to move to the next one, is Ms. Blazer, and if anybody else wants to speak, please, so I can keep up with it.
I just noticed, like, on this list that she gave us for sleep, which was for water testing, they're not even doing that anymore. So are we
Yes,
going to
we are.
give sleep 10,000? But since camping closed down, are you all still doing it?
Absolutely. There's 100 years of sediment behind that dam that they're forever chemicals. Plus we do E. coli testing, plus we test them in Nolechucky as well.
Okay.
But what we were told is that we couldn't use the money to pay for tests. We need EPA approved labs. $10,000 in plastic sampling bags are going to do nothing for us. And that's why we did, the contract was so vague, and it was a reimbursement. We could not put our entity at jeopardy putting the money out and then not get it reimbursed. And what we were told it would be reimbursed for was nothing that we could use. And we spent a lot of time on that proposal
So
as
you want
well.
yours changed too then, right? I mean,
If it's possible, I just kind of threw my hands up after a few years.
All right, let's stay right here. And make sure we stay on track here. We can't hash all this out there. Let's stay right here. Mr. Stephens, got your hand up.
Do we have any kind of checks and balances situation here for this money we give to people and they just spend it? I mean, do we know what they do with it?
Commissioner Steph, that essentially is what you all approved for the specific items. That is the check and balance. Anybody who has, and I've been talking with our office all day confirming all this today. Anything that was approved by the CLB that's been requested, those funds have been released. We've got several on the list we're trying to contact, and we can't get in touch with them to spend them on. And with the suite, we told them, you can use it for testing, but then somebody from Sweet called us and said, well, we want to pay people to drive, we want to pay mileage and stuff like that. And
No, we were told, that's not what we were told. There was a miscommunication there.
okay. Well, the testing, I had this exact conversation today with my staff. If it's for the testing and it's on the sheet, we have no problem with that, so.
Well, what we were told is that we couldn't pay labs to do the test. It would take hundreds of thousands of dollars for us to be an EPA-approved lab and staff it. We take samples, and we need to follow a chain of custody, and we needed to have tested at an EPA-approved lab. And we were told that we could not use the funds for that.
Who told you?
You and
Me?
Elizabeth, yes.
I didn't say that.
That's what I remember.
Mr. Step?
Let me clarify.
I never said such words.
All right, let's,
We give somebody, say, we give someone, say, yeah, $55,000. And we have a way of knowing that they spend on what it's intended.
They provide receipts.
Okay.
They provide receipts and pictures. They may not have the pictures right away because if they lose or something, they're finding that some of the stuff's on back order, but they're having to go ahead and pay for it, so yes.
all right, Ms. Blazer.
If I'm not mistaken, these monies or these funds are audited by the state for the next 3 years. That's why you're saying, or I understand you to say, we can't give them money unless it's what's on the paperwork. Is that true?
Exactly, it has to be some document.
And it has to be, I mean, it all has to match up. If we give them money to buy an oven, the state audits that for the next 3 years or something. So if we gave this money and they spend it on something else, is that correct? There would be issues with that. We could actually, as a county, be liable to pay it back. Is that correct?
Yeah, we will get in trouble for that.
Exactly.
And it's gotta be, now, the rules on what it can be spent on are very, very liberal, but it comes down to what the CLB approves. And if the CLB hasn't approved it, we can spend it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna add, we want to be primarily liable and secondarily liable, but we couldn't end up having to pay back the primary resident. The issue is that we only appropriated for a very specific amount from the application. I'm not saying that it can't reapply. I mean, that's not my decision. It's just that by law, you appropriated the money for a very specific purpose. But you can change it.
Okay, any other, Mr. Bass?
We promised, Mr. Chairman, we promised to give these organizations that money. We promised, Mrs. CLB. We voted on it. We voted to give them the money.
Okay,
So I think they should have the money. Thank you.
yes, sir. Anybody else want to speak?
I would
Before
like
we-
to
yeah,
say,
go ahead, Ms. Hall.
I'm sorry.
You're
I
fine.
would like to say that, we've been providing the receipts and pictures of what they're buying, purchasing with this. I don't see that there would be a problem, and I don't feel like that they should have to go back in and do another application. That's just insane
Okay.
at this point.
All right, we do have a motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Stepp. Do we have a second from Mr. Bassett? Is there any question on suspend the rules? If not, we'll vote at this time. Suspend the rules. All right, that motion passed, 14-0. At this time, I'll entertain a motion on the money, Ms. Ball.
I would like to make a motion to allow the monies to be distributed to them to finish up their projects. And of course, they will provide us with receipts and pictures.
Okay, let her get this.
Mr. Chairman, you can't do that. I mean, you can't just give them the issue. I'm not saying that they have to do their whole process. You can go to them and have them amend their applications and everyone in. But I'm just saying, what you're saying, we can't just give them money. We can't, unfortunately. You have to appropriate the money. At this point, we've only appropriated the money for specific reasons. So you can't give them the money without a reason at this point. So what we could do, if you want to do it by July 1st and not wait until next year, you could have them, and it would have to, just because of, I guess you could do it another way, but for an even playing field, you would have to allow everyone to amend their application, which is completely fine. So if they wouldn't have to go through the whole application process again, they could just amend what they're using it for. Now, I don't know the verbiage of what your application but you can amend it to be specific on the testing materials or whatever they need. And then you would go back into the committee that decides who's awarded it. They would take those 5 factors, see who deserves it the most, and then you would come back to the CLB and you would have to vote to appropriate it again. And that's what it is. It's just that you can't just give them money. That's what legally you can't do.
Well, the 5 factors that you're referring to, were those factors put in place for the CLB?
It was by the nonprofit committee meeting, and then the CLB voted to kind of go with what they said.
Okay, so the CLB put those 5 factors in place, the CLB can take those 5 factors out.
Yeah, and then you could just go, if you want to kind of disband the nonprofit committee meeting, or committee, you could do that. And then you could have everyone turn in the applications to the CLB, or the amended applications to the CLB, and then next CLB meeting, you could discuss who you would like to give it to.
Okay, I have this here. This was the parameters that they set. How many people that they serve in the county, how they help the people in the county, the amount the nonprofit receives in assistance from the county, the need of the nonprofit, and the need, the nonprofit reporting practices.
Yeah, that's what you're referring to.
All right, Mr. Hudson? You're up to speak. Mr. Vassar, you were up to speak. Do you have anything else to add?
Yes, I wanted to ask Ms. Ball a question, please, just so I can clear this up.
Yes.
And I'm just going to use Sunset Gap for out of all of these, okay?
Okay.
Sunset Gap was awarded $55,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay, they were, and on here it says commercial oven, dishwasher, HVAC, and metal carport. Do they have that, these items right now? Or are they waiting on the $10,935 that we owe them to either get a commercial oven, a dishwasher, an HVAC, or a metal carport?
Would you like to speak?
I'm Audrey Jones, I'm the executive director. We have our metal carports installed, we have dishwashers installed, we have our ovens. The additional $10,000 would help us get other items that we need besides what's on that list. We've spent almost, I've got $10,000 left. But our carports are installed, our dishwashers are on property, our HVAC is being installed right now, and our double oven.
Okay, question for you, ma'am.
Yes.
Do you need the $10,935 to finish up the HVAC system?
Yes.
That you do not have installed yet?
Yes, I could use that very much so.
Good.
Okay, Mr. Ritter.
I was going to say, one thing to keep in mind, this, we're all on the same team. Everybody in the crowd, everybody here, and everybody in the stands. This is something that was sat on for a year and then just dropped like a hot rock in our laps. And so let's all just remember that. And whatever you all want to do, as long as you all approve it and the county attorney says it's legal, we're good. So we are not going to withhold any kind of fund. We want to get these funds to the people that need it as fast as we can. We just want to make sure it's done correctly. And I think that's what everybody here can agree on. So whatever the CLB decides to do, we are 100% on board with whatever y'all want to do. We just want to make sure it's done correctly. And we want to help as many people as we can.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'd like for you to give us a little advice on what to do here. Honestly, you've got more experience here than us.
I think when everybody looked at this and they went through, they deemed these nonprofits worthy of that money. My suggestion would be to keep it legal, that we vote to let those only that don't have their money yet, that need to spend it in a different way, we allow them to resubmit only those now that that they've said, yeah, you're going to get money, we promise money to. We allow them to amend their application to include what they need and give it to them. That would be my suggestion, keep it legal. Can that be done?
Yes, my only hesitation is the backlash of the other nonprofits.
The other nonprofits, any other nonprofits had 2 years to talk about it. This was already, we can hash this out for 5 more years with other nonprofits.
My only,
But we promised these people their money.
before the specific thing we asked, again, I don't care, but the board specifically we asked. So at that point, we said, okay, so they were worried because they needed an HVAC system. My fear is that if we change it and we just give it to them, that the other nonprofits are going to say, hey, they got what they wanted. Now, again, you can do it. I'm just saying, from a legal standpoint, that's my only hesitation.
I just hate to take money away from the
I don't disagree. It's just that.
Well, tell them, Cocke County.
Is there a reason why we only give them part of what we promised them to start with, instead of all of it at once?
Because, and this is more of a money issue, so I don't know, but I believe it's because we can only give the money out as they're purchasing that, whatever they need. We can't just give it to them, and that's more of a budget oversight issue.
For example, the Council on Aging, they wanted, all they had was a roll of them, and they got to allocate $30,000. Well, they spent $16,000 getting that installed. They had $13,600 left over, $13,700 was, and with nothing else on their list that was approved to the purchase for. So they had money, but no approved way to spend it. And that's the.
But then again, you've got, I'm sorry, yeah.
I was just gonna say, the lady right here says she still needs the 10,000 to finish the HVAC though, so.
And it's on the list.
Okay. And we did have other things on the list. When the list got typed up, some of our items got dropped off the list.
All we can go off of is what was approved by the CLB, the list that they got.
And we did do an amendment. We did.
But we can turn in, if you did do the amendment, I mean, that's great, but they haven't approved anything, and I don't have anything.
They did an amendment that was never given to the nonprofit organization. I know that for a fact.
I'm saying, look, you guys vote for them to buy a bunch of Waldo comic books. I don't, it doesn't have to be, you guys, we'll do it. You just gotta approve it.
All right.
And we just have to have paperwork to show it.
I think the best way to do it, I don't want to say it, but no. I think the fairest way to do it is the people that are approved,
That we
already
have
approved,
this.
because we went through this now for 3 years, 2 or 3 years we played with this. I never thought it'd be this hard to play with. But what we need to do is allow the ones that's been approved to amend their budgets and give it to them. If those that they can't reach, it goes back into the general fund. We'll keep it and spend it for the county fund. That's what I would say. There's some people you can't reach, you've reached out to, right? That you said you couldn't reach. That money should go back into the general fund. We shouldn't have to run them down to give them money. That's my suggestion. Sir.
So with that being said, I agree with you, first of all. But with that being said, I think the ones that are represented here should be the ones that we consider giving the money to. But the other ones, if they find out, hey, there was 4 representatives at the CLB meeting tonight that they give the rest of their money to. So we want the rest of our money. I think they should make themselves present at the Cocke County CLB meetings to come forward to ask for the money to do it that way. But the representatives that are here tonight,
And here's the thing, with the time crunch, if they're not here tonight, chances are pretty good they won't get it.
I agree.
So, what you're saying is, the ones that are approved that are here tonight should get their money.
That's the way I.
So what about the ones that didn't hear about it, that didn't, I don't know. Just give it a lot more complicated on what it should be.
Evidently, they're not real concerned about
Yes,
it.
Ms. Bob?
I said we give everybody until June 1st.
So then, only the ones that are already
that are
approved.
on this list.
Amend them.
Amend the list, amend their items, get that money distributed ASAP. And then if we can't, between now and the next meeting, if we can't get a hold of these people who have not gotten, that have not attempted to get their money or whatever, I feel like that then we can look at.
That needs to go back to general fund. So, that being said, if we make that motion tonight to do that, would that give time for us to vote on it at the next meeting to approve them? Because it sounds like according to law, they have to be approved by us, the amendments have to be approved for them to get their money by the end of June.
Yeah, because our meeting is on until the 19th.
So, if you want to make your motion to let the only nonprofits that have been approved amend their request and have it turned in to the mayor's office before June 1st, we will consider it at the next meeting. Yes.
You could just vote to have them amend it and then vote now to appropriate the money to them whenever they amend it to, or, I mean,
So,
Just disperse the funds.
just do
so
it.
what you're saying
Have to
is,
appropriate as
as
they-
long as they amend it by June 1st and turn it in, we can go ahead and approve whatever they amend.
If you want to, you could vote and not have an amendment. Have them, I mean, it's good to have the people, to be honest, but you could
I agree.
to amend it and appropriate it and kind of just give them free right.
I don't like
That sounds
right.
like three approved and third amendments.
If we don't, that's the only way to do it without having to come back and appropriate on the 19th.
I would
It would be the 20th, by the way, because 19th, we just.
I would, personally, I'd like us to approve it at the next meeting. I don't like writing just blank checks, but I do want these people that have been promised money to get their money. Now, that's me.
But they have to have it done.
So, yes, sir, Mr. Steph.
I got another question. Like for instance, the Hope House here, they're supposed to get 15,000. They got 14,310. Does that mean that they're, that's it?
They still
can't-
got
they can't-
$690.
But if they can't show a reason to have it, then it's just,
Okay. All right, let's move on. We've been on this long enough. So, anybody, I'll entertain a motion at this time, by somebody, how you want to do it. I told you how I would like to see it done, but I'll entertain a motion by somebody to, well, you can't, until they give you the motion, you can't put it up there. Because this could go either way. I'll if somebody want to suggest a motion,
I'll make
yes. And what is your motion?
To do it the way you suggested and then kind of.
For, to give the nonprofits that are already
On the
approved
list.
till June 1st to turn in an amendment to get the rest of their money to be approved at the next CLB meeting.
Yes.
And that's from Ms. Ball.
Is the end of the budget year?
It's in June.
June, they have. So can I ask the budget to be on the same side? I mean, and I hate to say this, but you have a special call meetings just to do that.
No,
Okay. Just that?
no, I don't think so.
I mean,
I think everybody needs to get their house in order and let's do this when we're
That is
supposed
just
to do
going to
it.
get, I mean, people that
Yeah, I know.
got to spend.
I understand.
But I thought she said that they didn't pay that out until they had.
They have over a month.
They do, okay.
June.
Okay, good.
it's July 1st.
Yeah, they've got to July 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to July 1st. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question.
No, I said.
All right, so we do have them. Have you got that? I've got, Mr. McMahon wants to speak. You still want to speak, sir? All right. Again, all right, somebody wants to make that motion. It's on the board, Ms. Ball, and seconded by Mr. Bright. Is there any questions? At this time, we'll vote. All right, that motion carried 14-0. All right. That's fun. Anything else from the county commissioner?
I would just like to say something for one second. I would like to thank these nonprofit organizations for what they do for Cocke County and the Cocke County people.
Thank you. All right, report from Cocke County Partnership. Mr. Graham's here. Anybody have any questions for him?
But if Mr. Graham would just give us an outlay of what's happening in the county, the 6th district, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. So, look, I'm sure I was saying, if any of you have not had an opportunity to come by the office yet, many of you have at this point. I appreciate y'all doing that, taking time, work, giving me phone calls. I've talked to on the earlier today. Please do so. If you don't have my cell phone number or we leave today, I'm sure that you've got it. And you can contact me anytime on anything off on like that. I'm open anytime. Y'all call it. To be real brief, I know this meeting's been long enough. General updates on where things are. The innovation park is in first 2 sites that are being paid for with the SDG, the state site development grant, are in construction as we speak. If you've not seen them, they're being moved up there in streets.live, check it out on your way through. That contract started on the first, 120 working days to complete that, depending on weather allowance. So that those should be done. As soon as they're wrapped up, we'll start into the 3rd and 4th site. And we'll actually, as soon as those sites are done, we'll start marketing that online, get additional inquiries. We have submitted on a state-led RFI for building Project Heat this month, and we have a very good shot at that project. We submitted the 2 sites that are in construction right now. So what they've allowed us to share at this point is it's a 160 job projects, roughly 15 million. And this company is open to new construction and build the city offices we have on. So looking forward to those, more discussions with them. In addition, we've been, one of our existing ministries reached out about a potential expansion that would require a new build in the innovation park on site 5. Is what this one big truck started doing. That'd be another 34 jobs there. It's not a huge project, but this is letting that site. You did not catch it in the paper. Logic Marketing has announced that they have purchased the old Unified Marine building. It wasn't Unified Marine, it was turned over to distribution center. And now they'll lead their startup operations. They're going to employ about 50 people over the next 3 years. It's one of our newest manufacturing there. Really need business model. We're not checking them out. Encourage you to do so. The mayor's already brought up about the 15 million grants that we've got secured now to the sewer line. CLB, it just took 4 years to get that done. Finally, ready to go. I think we should have a press release come out on that. We're going to do the joint release, assuming that the ARC and the state signs off on that, just to provide clarity on where all the grant funds are coming from, because it is rather complex. We've got 4 or 5 different sources for that. But that will officially get kicked off, and we'll start doing the full-blown bid process and work with these. Bike trail grants that this will come out in the paper sometime this week, but we'll have the second or the next part of the process, the meeting process is to do a public meeting to present the plan, the bike trail plans that will be presented and reviewed for service for approval. That'll take place on May 31st at the Tanner Building. That we can 5 to 7, is it 5 to 7? 5 to 7 at the candidate. And you're welcome to come to that. Any of you, public comment period is over with up to this point. This is simply for presentation. We will have a Q&A session on that. But after that, the next process will be open the official public comment period for 30 days. After that, after this meeting, and then there'll be an online portal that the World Service Manuals have to look up that information and submit it, and then that'll kick off the scoping period of the process. Then luck, we get through that part, and then we move on to the bid process and then after services and first. Anything else? That is all I have got for this afternoon. If you have questions about anything I've not covered, or if you want to ask additional information about other projects going on, please call me. Just because I don't put it in the report or have not presented the public, it's not meaning that I will not tell you guys as a commission. Most of them, anybody with my office can tell you that. As far as I'm concerned, if you come to my office and talk, or talk to me one-on-one, you have about it. Anybody got
Anybody got any questions? I have one.
Sir?
The new industry that you said was interested, is it going to be at one of our sites that we are getting prepped now?
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get was there. Okay.
They are, they want to be in the East Tennessee market, and they want to be in our area.
Anything else? Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you.
Matter report from Priority Ambulance Service, that copy was enclosed. Matter report from Cocke County Beautiful, the copy was enclosed. Sir, do have one thing to report from that. If I don't say this, I'll get skinned alive. Members of our Sheriff's Department and our gated community picked up from Morristown Highway all the way up to the river on Industrial Road, 110 bags of trash and 2 major dump sites. And I just want to mention that. And thank you all for doing that. And I think we're going to start having several. That by far, and I've been on Cocke County Beautiful for 10 years, that is the biggest turnout of numbers we've ever had for anything. So we do appreciate it, and we hope to have more of them, and hope to get some CLB members involved.
First of all, thank you for doing it, but it's a shame we have to in this county. But anyway,
We have a lot of weird.
anything else?
All right, new business, the matter of Scott Allen addressing the board regarding Fiction Road. Come on, man. He's here. Mr. Allen, come on up, state your name and your business, and we'll give you about 5 minutes, and if we need to give you a little more, we will.
My name's Scott Allen, and I live over on Fincham Road. And back in '99, the planning commission held a meeting to make a subdivision of our office. I don't know about you, but I own a little bit of land over there. I say a little bit, it's over 150 acres. And they agreed to put a subdivision over there off of Fincham Road. And all subdivisions, roads go from peg to peg. This one here is about 20 foot short on one side. People's coming through armor slapping mailbox or slapping mirrors now. You know, people starting to get very mad. The subdivision was okayed by the planning commission, had to be okayed by the CLB. And it's been a long time, but there ain't been many houses in there. Now there's starting to be some houses in there, and that's just a little on our road.
When was that subdivision approved?
99. November 23rd, 1999.
And just for the board's information,
A lot of rules have changed since then. A lot of road requirements are now in place. Different road requirements are now in place than what it was when this was approved. Now going outside.
Well, the pigs is over there,
Yeah.
but the road stops here. And they're putting tile right here. You've got 15 foot, you know, graded out there 4 foot. That's how we asked them to say we can tile. Because, you know, our neighbors starting to get mad at other neighbors now. You got people living in here, you know, it ain't so friendly back there no more. And if you have a school bus right back there, and heard a bunch of kids, you probably got kids, you probably got grandkids. Well, that's the last thing you want to do is sit one of them get out on school bus. That school bus drives up to like that. And when it drops off that 2 foot ditch, it's gonna flip that bus, you know. I just ain't see it coming. I see it coming. I seen it coming with the mirror slab a long time ago, when I've been in front of the road department 4 or 5 times. I figured I'd come down here and let you all know what's coming. When you're driving out there on a narrow road, I don't know how you drive out there, but you've got more people on Fincham now than you do Shell. And Shell Road's paved with a line in the middle of it, lines on the side. You got more people on Fincham now, and you ain't got no lines nowhere, you got ditches. And that's what's gonna happen, you know. There's been accidents out there, nobody just don't want to report it, because it's a no-fault accident. But I hate to see this county get sued, because that's brother and sister being sued by other brothers and sisters and kinfolk. I've been up here almost all my life, you know, a lot of it. This wasn't one of those little kids, your grandkids getting hurt on those school bus. And if it was illegal, we did it. But when you got a pig way over there, and you got the road stopping here, I don't know why we can't break that out there and fix that right. And I ain't asking for nothing. Should have been done a long time ago, but, you know, there never was no houses on it, but now they are.
Can I ask you what the highway department told you when you went before them?
They told me that the road consisted of, from what, one corner of the road to the other corner of the road, on the pavement only.
So they're saying there's no right of way on the road?
Yeah, they're saying it's over there. They're saying it's right of way. But they've got from road to road, there's a right of way. But they don't want to go far and
Right,
grade.
I'm saying, you're wanting to widen the road?
Just want to widen it up and
Okay,
grade.
what I'm asking you, most roads have got a right of way
Yes, sir.
on each side.
Well, this here's a subdivision. So it's over here and it goes from it goes 50 foot. But we ain't asking 50 foot, it's 14 foot pavement. In some places it's 10.
So the road in the subdivision is a county road?
Yeah. It goes around the subdivision. It's a county road. Yes, sir.
That goes around it.
You're not asking for more pay, you just want a wide
I just wanted to grade out line and gravel what we
So
can
you can
pass. Yeah. Because the subdivision,
He is correct. I went yesterday and spoke with Mr. Allen, wrote a question, and I did pull out a tape measure. And from one side of the blacktop to the other, which is recently been blacktop, it's not very old. It was 14 foot from edge to edge. Just for perspective, what he's saying.
So do we know for certain what the right of way measurements are at this specific subdivision? Is it a 50-foot right of way, a 40-foot right of way? Is it we don't know.
25 feet, the way I understand
Sure.
it, 12 feet, 12 and a half feet from the center to each side. That's how I do it.
All right, anybody have any questions? Any other questions for Mr. Allen?
subdivision is
Wide
different.
spot. You just want a wide spot to get by.
Yeah, a subdivision is different, though. It goes from page to page. You don't determine where the middle is, 15 foot that way.
But you ain't asking for a mile of paved road, you're asking for
We're
a
asking
mile.
another paved road. We just want to grade it out so we can get through our.
Yeah.
Only thing, Mr. Burdock,
Can we officially ask the road department just to re-look at this?
I would suggest, here's my suggestion, we can't make the road department do anything.
That's why I said ask.
But those concerned commissioners, what I would advise is contact the county road superintendent and have a discussion with him and let him know that we are concerned. Okay? And that's about all we're doing.
20 years ago.
Yeah, well, we did.
Well, this committee,
Yeah.
CLB approved,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I'm not sure how the rules work back there, but,
Right.
you know, I don't know. I can't. But we can do that.
Thank you.
And I would suggest, thank you. I would suggest
Thank
that
you.
the commissioners do that to help, see if they can help. All right, that being said, anything else? Anything miscellaneous? Seeing nothing, let's move on to the next item up for bid. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. McMahon, second by Mr. Hudson. Please vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.